All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this last training session of 2025. And today is October 4th. And Joe's going to be joining us a little bit later today, probably about 15 minutes or so. And I see we have Louise here. And I have a couple things to go through. So, Louise, do you want to start, or you want me to start? You're first on the agenda. So do you want to go, or do you need some time? What's your preference?
I can go now.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome for being here. Appreciate your time. I'm going to go over my few things here. First, let me see if I can go ahead and take the screen here.
Here, I'll stop share and that'll make it easier for you. There you go.
All righty. All right. Did you already say it's October 4th and all that?
I did.
Somewhere else. Okay. So these are the things that I'm going to go over here today, describing overall purpose and intent for the model county as it relates to the Resurgence project. I'm going to explain evaluating where each state of the union is as they relate to their union state assemblies regarding regarding peacekeeping, the importance of having a PKTF liaison, so to gauge or evaluate where each assembly is with their peacekeeping responsibilities, obtaining at least 4 model county participants from among the 50 states of the union to initiate the project in its entirety, where the Resurgence project is today and how it relates to the PKTF Assembly liaisons through 2025 and 2026 to the in-state project of 2028. That's a whole lot to explain. And right now, how all this is going to play out is really, we're navigating and designing as we go. So I created a little graphic to try to explain the layers to this. Let me bring up my little graphic here. Not much of a graphic, but just my thoughts here on the page. So Joe, myself, and Anna has been going back and forth today, talking about what the model county is, what the model county is not, what part of it is part of the Peacekeeping Task Force Charter, what part of it is not. We're debating that back and forth. So it's developing as we go along here. So I tried here to try to put on the piece of paper a way to graph it so that I can best explain to you how the pieces fit together as we're developing this. So on the left-hand side, can y'all see this good?
Yeah, I can see it perfect.
On the left-hand side, I got the American Government Resurgence Project. And on the right-hand side, I got the Peacekeeping Task Force Charter. As this project developed, it has 6 phases, right? So it has 6 phases and an addendum is what I called it. So the first 3 phases, the first 2 phases, phase 1, phase 1A, phase 2, and they're really just 2 phases there, has to do with county assembling, state assembling, and outreach of what the state assemblies and the county assemblies do on their end. And then the phase 3 is the peacekeepers. So what you see on the left, the model counties initiative has to do with phases 1, 1A, and 2, how the counties and the state assemblies are going to be doing outreach. That's the postcard campaign, that's having public meetings from county to county, that's bringing people back home, getting their declarations done, that type of thing, filling up your assemblies with the officers and things like that. The peacekeepers here raise the flag. That's the idea I had with phase 3, where the peacekeepers go to the governors, go to the secretaries of state, to the president, to the de facto, and have them and negotiate with them, I should say, the transference of governance back into the hands of the American people, into our assembly's hands. That's what the peacekeepers phase 3 part is about. And that kind of overlaps with the model counties and phase 1 and phase 2, which is really not part of what the Peacekeeping Task Force Charter is. So it kind of overlaps those two. In our management part here that we're about to start up management and close out the training. In the management aspect, we're going to be training liaisons and how to execute the phase 3. Along with the liaisons will be the county sheriffs, will be the militia commanders, will be the continental marshals. These are our peacekeepers, right? So all of them are part of the phase 3. And that part will be learning more about, you remember the training reference guide with the green banner at the top and 4 pages, the poster you're gonna take to the de facto and try to explain to them what has happened and what needs to happen right now with the transference. That is what we're going to get into in our management part. So that has to be done very strategically, very tactfully, so that we can prevent civil unrest, civil protests, because we come in 160 years later saying, hey, here we are. And they're like wondering, who are we? Who are you? So we have to do it in such a way that they will be welcoming and they will take part and accept the responsibility of running their government, because we've been gone all this time. And it's really, it's the responsibility of the people, and we have to convey that to them. It's not us, it's not just the American state assemblies. It's like they are the assemblies. They are the people who's running this government, so that they don't look like us again as the de facto is over here, the government is over here, and they just tell them what to do. No, we have to convey to them that you are the ones who's supposed to be running this, right? While at the same time, we have to give them some structure of what an assembly, how to actually run an assembly government. See, we got the heads up. We're first out the gate. So right now, as the county assemblies are getting organized and the state assemblies are getting organized, we're learning now how that organization is supposed to look. So when we go out in the public, we need to have something structured to show them that they need to step into and take control of. And that aspect of it is not part of the Peacekeeping Task Force. That part of it is part of the model counties, county assembling. That part is over here on the left side. So you can see how these things kind of layer on top of each other, and they have an interplay with each other. But as we're going out there in phase 3 with the peacekeepers, if we show forth our county sheriffs, our guardians, we show forth our peacekeepers, we're hoping that strategy will help keep the calm with people out there in the public, so they don't get triggered, or they don't get defensive, thinking that we're taking America away from them, that type of thing. So in our management side, we're going to do a lot of the role playing, a lot of the thinking through how to actually do this in a tactful way, because it has to be done. The transference have to take place. So how do we best do that? That's what the phase 3 is about. Now, on the right-hand side here is the State Border Defense Plan. This is what the Peacekeeping Task Force is primarily chartered to do. The State Border Defense Plan is to help the state assemblies devise their state border defense plan. We don't devise it for them. We just help and assist them in devising it and giving them some direction and what it's supposed to look like. And that goes along with the emergency aspect of making sure the assemblies are able to deploy in times of emergency. They cannot get seated without this. So this is primarily what the Peacekeeping Task Force is focusing on in their charter, is this state border defense. Now, what we're seeing as we're developing the American Government Resurgence Project, what we're seeing is the overlap of how the counties are involved in that. The county assemblies are essentially the community resiliency units. Now, what is a community resiliency unit? That's the quote unquote militia with the small letter M. There's no standing militia on a county, but militia means people, right? So the people are the militia, meaning lowercase m. Everyone have a duty to come to the rescue of their fellow man. Basically, that's what a community resiliency unit is. And the county assembly is basically a community resiliency unit in and of itself. So that's how it overlaps with what we're doing with the American Government Resurgence Project and getting the counties organized. In the State Border Defense Plan, while the states are protecting all of these counties and preparing them for times of emergency, how does that look? Well, a county has to be organized, have a county sheriff and and the ability to form a posse and the ability to call on the militia when there's an emergency. In a state border defense plan, you have to have the walkie-talkie ready to receive the message. Now we're on the state of the union level, at the state assemblies level. How do they devise this state border defense plan? Well, in order to develop a good one, you have to tell the states of the union, well, county per county, have your county sheriff. Every county sheriff get their radio. We got our militia commander. So if something happens on the ground, some flood or some hurricane, that county sheriff can call up to our militia commander and let us know they need help. Well, if the county sheriff isn't there and established yet, that can't happen in your state border defense plan. So that's how it overlaps. The county assemblies is the unit that's going to come to the rescue for everyone that in a time of emergency. I don't think we've been really viewing the county assemblies that way. But as we're developing the American Government Resurgence Project, it's coming more to light in what role these county assemblies actually play in the logistics of how the states of the union are actually being organized. We can't get these things in place without organizing both the state and the counties at the same time. In order for it to be effective and achieve what it is we're trying to achieve, this is the best strategy, as far as we can tell. So the Peacekeeping Task Force on the State Border Defense Plan, this is going to be developed through the militia pillar of all the states' assemblies. And where we have the project that Joe is developing, it's called the 10, it's leaving me now, what is it called? The
10-fold.
The tenfold project with the 10 state assemblies that we're working through the militia pillar, where each pillar have a state co-coordinator to serve that militia pillar, where that state co-coordinator will be vetted by the PKTF and will be serving as the liaison for the militia pillar specifically in this tenfold shield plan, so that we can help these 10 states of the union or states assemblies to get their state border defense plan outlined and the logistics of it thought through, so that they can be prepared to be seated. So then they can't be seated without a state border defense plan. So we bring in that conversation to the forefront in the plannings of these 10 particular states. And the 10 particular states, we will have the state co-coordinator, and then of course it has to have a militia commander. So we will be helping guide them through putting all those things in place to develop their militia pillar. Now, I remember coming on board with the PKTF, Joe always talking about everything, outreach is everything. And whether the outreach is done through the General Assembly or whether the outreach is done through the militia, we got to do the outreach. And outreach is basically just going out there to the people, bringing them home, letting them know that the American government is restored, and that's your government, and you have a duty to keep the peace. And those who wants to serve in offices, let them know what all this structure is. And that's basically the outreach that we're doing. In this in the states of the union, or the states assemblies, and I say states of the union, states assemblies interchangeably because we're talking about the states of the union. And the union is the county, and the states of the union is the states. And there's a relationship there that I'm trying to bring out when I say that. This relationship between the union and their state of the union is very integral in how we actually deploy and construct our militia, and how we construct our states assemblies and our county assemblies. They are interrelated, and we want to really bring that forward with this left side and this right side. At the same time, we have to, and as Joe and I and Anna have been debating today, we have to think of at the same time how they're both separate, and so that we don't overstep our responsibilities. So what I wanted to get across for you guys here today is the difference in what we're looking at here with the American Government Resurgence Project and what the State Border Defense Plan is, as well as how they overlap. You, as the liaisons, are going to be involved in the State Border Defense Plan in the militia pillar, and in the phase 3 part where our peacekeepers go out and speak to the de facto. And you're actually going to be involved in the model counties in the aspect where once a month now I'm having Resurgence coordination teams meeting. So you will be involved in that aspect where I'm bringing all these parties together so that we can coordinate the plan. What we're going to say, when you're going to go out, so that phase 3 over here know what phase 1 is doing. So that phase 3 over here has the documentation in hand that they're talking about and explaining to the governor, while phase 1 over here know what that document is. So as they're talking to the American public in their public meeting, they will be having conversations about the same thing. That's what the Resurgence Coordination Teams meetings are about in the Model Counties Initiative. And in the Model Counties Initiative, the objective is to get all the county assemblies organized. And what are all the county assemblies? They are the community resiliency units in the State Border Defense Plan. So you see how that kind of overlaps. So the liaisons are going to be touching each of these 3 boxes in some respect. Let me go back to the notes. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Let me take questions. If you all have any questions about what I'm explaining here with this chart or graph. Okay. I'm gonna go to my notes here. The reason
Louise, this is Paul in Florida, is the real natural connection there too between the peacekeeping task force with the states. The border is obviously, let's say Florida, the border is obviously the delineation between, let's say, Alabama and Georgia. So it's a very natural connection that the state border would be the most important thing, because that's where you start to go over into another nation state's jurisdiction, right? Of that.
Now, yes, that's now Paul brings out a good point, because there's a nuance here. State Border Defense Plan. There's counties on the border. So in the State Border Defense Plan, you are talking about just the counties on the border. But the nuance is, if there's a hurricane to come through your town, it's not necessarily on the border, is it? but that's an emergency, right? So even though we say a state border defense plan, we don't limit it to just those things on the border, because emergency can happen anywhere within your state. That's the nuance there. Yes, David.
Well, and of
Oh.
course, with the Continental Marshal Service, they're involved if, let's say there's a crime on a county. When it crosses the county line into another county, there's the jurisdictional border for the Continental Marshal Service too.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, David. Can't hear you if you're talking. David, you got to get out mute, maybe. I see your hand raised, but we can't hear anything while he's getting that together. I just want to mention, here it says obtaining at least 4 model county participants to carry this project all the way through to its entirety. We're working on that. We started off with actually 5. Don't know, as Anna, Joe, and I are debating what's a Resurgence project, what's Peacekeeping Task Force Charter. As we're debating that, we'll have to see how that actually plays out. So by the time our next meeting, we will know who those 4 model counties are, or what we have to do to put those 4 model counties in place. If we're going to go with the ones we have now, or if we're going to choose other ones. Because in the original model counties initiative that I designed, I need a model county per each union state. So that's 50. We're narrowing it down to 4 right here as what Anna calls a test run. Now where the Resurgence project today is, how it relates to PKTF, I explained that, but the reason why he has in-state project 2028 is because when I started developing the project, I gave myself a 4-year window from 2024 to 2028. In 2028, I wanted to expect to take to the world stage as the restored American government and present ourselves to the global world as the American government and the only American government, with our subcontractors in their place. That was the time frame for 2028. Now, as we've been developing the project, I come to understand that the county assembly government is not the last layer we have to deal with. We have a whole nother layer of government called the towns, the missing American towns that need to be reconstructed, and that's over 19,000. Are we going to hit that 2028 mark? I don't know. I doubt it, but I'm still working, and we're all still working, because when the transference of government happens, it has to happen. It has to happen on the town level. I mean, where the community lives, where the living people are. This is the soil jurisdiction. The soil jurisdiction is where government is. Everything else after that is instrumentalities of government. Now, we don't talk about that much because we talk about the American government. Well, we are the American government in relationship to those British subcontractors or the municipal subcontractors. But within our internal structure, the government is on the soil jurisdiction, and the state jurisdiction is the instrumentality of the soil jurisdiction. So when the transference of government happens, it has to happen on the ground where the community is, where the people are. So will that happen by 2028? We got to get to moving on getting this outreach done. It's really going to be contingent on how forceful, or maybe that's not the word, how eager we are to get out there and bring people home. Yes, Marianne.
I just wanted to input there with you, Louise, when you're talking, bringing up, yeah, we do need to, that layer is going to be the towns. When you are speaking into the counties, it's just like our states, our counties populate as those coming home to the state. Well, that's going to in turn go with the same thing for the towns as each person comes in of the people, come in and status correct on the state, they're populating their county, automatically populating their town. What I would like to see, what would be helpful on my end of it with building the assembly, is when you are already speaking of your coordinators bringing in there for the counties. So we've got to make sure that there are going to be, and that will also be on my end as well. I have to make sure that my assembly is, everybody in each of our roles, we are making sure that we've got a coordinator in place for each town as we go, which helps you all do what you're doing on your end. And that should also help us reach your 2028, which I hope it won't be that long, but we don't know, we're going to do what it takes. We're going to make sure it gets done one way or the other. And we're in for whatever length it takes.
It has to get done.
But I just see that, working better the way that you're talking on your vision. Absolutely. That's going to work, but it will, as long as you add in there, when you're adding in for the counties, you make sure that you put in that extra layer that will go hand in hand with the counties. If I made sense to you, what I'm trying to relay.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and that's what I saw at the beginning of developing the Resurgence project is, well, I called it developing it in a vacuum, meaning we don't know where we're not developing it in a way that we know where we're going. It's like, and I related to contracting because I was working on my house. So if I'm going to lay this drywall, I have to know where the beam is and where the nail is whether I'm going to screw that nail in before I put the drywall on and cut it, where I need it to be. I have to know where I want to wind up. So that's how I'm looking at the Resurgence project. We're going to put the effort out there already. We might as well capitalize on that effort and not have to redo it again. So as we're populating the state, we're populating the county, and we're populating the town. So let's put all that structure in while we go along, so we don't have to double dip and do the efforts again. And then there's no vacuum. Everybody knows where everybody fits and how we interplay with each other. Yes, Marvin. Can't hear you, Marvin, if you're talking.
He's still muted. Here, I'm pinging him, so I'll unmute.
Okay.
Why don't you go to David and then come back to Marvin?
David, can we hear you this time? I see you, David.
You know what? He just went away. He's having connection problems. It looks like he just bounced off again. There's a couple of them that are kind of coming in and out. So I don't know if there's storms in
How
their
about
area
now?
or
Can
what's
you hear me?
happening.
May I? Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was
Go
going to
ahead,
say,
David.
thank you. Yeah, I was going to say for those assemblies of us that are in the Peaceful Operation Tenfold Shield or any assembly, what I hear you saying, Louise, is that plugging into the American Resurgence Plan, and especially with the model county efforts and everything, is key for the state border defense aspect of it. I heard you say that when you were talking, and it's like a light should be turning on as far as any outreach committee for those of us that are focused on that militia pillar to really plug in to what you're doing here. These phases, you can't do phase 3 before you do phase 1 or 2. And I remember you talking about that on a couple meetings that I attended of yours, which haven't been a whole lot of them. I'm not real active in that, but the more I listen to you talk about it, the more I realize, if the counties aren't active out there talking to the people and discussing the document, like you said, that the liaisons would eventually get involved in sharing with secretaries of state, governors, attorney generals, what have you, then it's not going to be very productive for us to, in essence, get the cart before the horse there on that kind of a conversation. Is that a pretty accurate understanding then?
Yeah, so when you bring this, there's another relationship here that's going on that I want to bring to the forefront. That is, when our peacekeepers are out there and we're talking about American government is restored, and they're talking to the publicly elected officials, quote unquote, that state governor, that county sheriff, or that chief justice, when they're talking to them and they don't see that their constituents are knowledgeable at all of what we're talking about. See, their constituents are the Americans that we're supposed to be bringing home. So if they don't have any pressure, any conversation coming their way about what we're talking about to them, then we don't have as much influence in what we're saying, because they're going to listen to their constituents that we're supposed to be talking to, bringing home. So those constituents are the ones supposed to call them up and say, hey, I had somebody come, this American government came to my town and was talking about, that's the kind of conversations we want to spark in these communities.
Yeah. And in essence, you got guidance by the directives of all 6 of these phases, to where outreach really doesn't need to kind of wonder, what do we do for outreach? Let's plan a campaign and everything. In a way, just plug into this. And it'll bring everything else into fruition, is the way I see it. So yeah, I'm definitely hoping Missouri will stay on course with that. I know there's people that are aware of the Resurgence project, and hopefully that committee is crafting more and more of their efforts around some future outreach for sure. We need a lot of it on Missouri. But yeah, thanks for tying that back in together again, everything.
Now, technically, they can go off. Phase 1 can go off and do the county touring without phase 3 going off. You can, but what I'm trying to do is bring it and make it most effective. Most effective is we all do it together. That's most effective. But I know everybody's not ready at the same time. You may not have a militia commander. You may not have a county sheriff yet. So you might have to just go and do the county tour. I also developed it so that you don't have to wait on the other party. So go, like I said, start where you are. Start where you are and get busy, because either way it go, everybody got to get out there into the communities and talk to the people. So yeah, so technically, yeah, you can go one phase without the other phase, but I know you can see how it's most effective for us to do it together. And that's why I transition into the Resurgence Coordination Teams meeting, so that I can emphasize that and try to coordinate everybody and put that in your mind of when you go back to your assemblies, how you're going to be devising your plan of getting out there. Any other questions? Okay. All right, to you then, Kathy, you can take the screen back.
Okay.
I can go first, guys, if everybody.
Oh, Joe's back.
Next.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Well, let me just go through my notes here. I want to piggyback off of what Luis has. I already have the standard liaison authorization form queued up, so that's what I'll screen share next. But as far as the Resurgence project goes, I think what can really kick it off, even if we didn't have our eyes on any liaisons at the state level, and them, trying to determine where your assembly is, your development climate, or counties regarding sheriffs, or anything like that. If you don't have an assembly militia commander yet, or coordinator, extra co-coordinator, helping out in that effort. It's kind of a hodgepodge, I guess, in some of this, but I can really narrow it down. I think Lisa and I met with the Alabama Assembly, and there was an aha moment, I think, for them. Pretty standard moments of clarity for Luis and I. But your assemblies needs a sheriff. To start out with, their outreach spawns from anyone declaring peace beyond themselves. This could be a really vital somebody to at least learn the role of what it is to be a county guardian. They don't have to have a star. They don't have to have arresting powers, booking powers, anything like that. They don't have to carry evidences of a potential criminal nature, regarding or needing a investigation, leading to possible indictments, all of that. They don't really shouldn't be expected to pursue those or carry those roles, but definitely learn them. They don't have to have a service weapon. They don't have to have anything like that. Just be the one who is your assemblies can go to to begin to assemble or general session of it. And that's really great because if you're looking at, try to look through the lens of the state coordination level, they're trying to set up 4 solid pillars, one of them having vertical pillars in themselves. And usually that's where your coordinator is in the general assembly. That's a lot for anybody to take on. And not so much the workload, but the people coming to the General Assembly across the entire state, trying to find out where they fit in, trying to be informed, trying to find out where they might be able to assist. That's a lot for any coordinator. I know because I was one for 10.5 months, and that was just General Assembly. Okay. So, I mean, many, many years has gone by since then, at least 3 years. So, back then we didn't have our eyes on county development or county outreach. If anyone here has a sheriff or soil jurisdiction, breathe, you're definitely far more ahead than my assembly is at the county level. And I think my entire state, of 120 counties, there are probably 0 sheriffs, even those putting themselves in the place of potential sheriff. So that, I think, Louise, I mean, you probably know, again, you know this, but I didn't get to see the faces of the folks on the Alabama when we had that meeting, but it went for a while, and I'm assuming that was their aha moments. This helps the peacekeepers at the state level also at least learn to appreciate and value another fellow peacekeeper. And this is a peacekeeper who is embracing their entire county. So it's a bit different that a marshal at arms or a militia commander, or let's say a marshal at arms, trying their best to maintain decorum, maintain what is needed to intercept concerns and complaints, even that for a marshal at arms. This is a whole lot. It's a scatter shot. So I'm really trying to share with you guys, probably that is where the rubber will meet the road, and the state assemblies will appreciate a sheriff or a would-be sheriff. You know, there are some assemblies that has more than 100 or 200, believe it or not, people who are status corrected on one county. So let me switch gears here. What I'm seeing is, at least for everybody that's here, I'll just go by the names. Richard for Australia. Richard, if you can have somebody and you can share with us, share just a replay, but meet with your assembly for Australia and try to kick around the idea with somebody. And I don't know what you call your peacekeepers there, but maybe try to take this back to any one of your areas and see, on Australia, and see which one would like to step up and be that area's peacekeeper. Richard, if you can chime in, educate us. What are I know you're not dealing with sections of Australia. You're actually using the entire
Joe,
Australia.
he's not from Australia.
Who?
Richard Ernst. He's from Illinois.
No, there was another, not Richard Ernst, but I thought.
There's a, let's see, Jules is from Australia.
Okay, Jules, yeah, help me out. I thought other Richard was here. Help us out, Jules. What do you have on Australia? And I'll go by the numbers. I have 8 of you here. I'll go quick. But Jules, if you can educate us on how Terra Australis has embraced their entire land jurisdiction. Let's come back to you if you're not tracking what I'm even asking. So Marvin on Texas. Marvin's here, right? So Marvin, you can have, yeah. So we have Texas. We have a liaison. This is where I'm going. Have a liaison at the state level, but 250 plus counties, no sheriff. So Marvin, you can go back and then you can and make it really simple. Go to your outreach committee. If you have a militia commander, meet them wherever that is as far as education, and then try to, put that on the agenda to GA and say, hey, 254 counties, 0 peacekeepers, 0 county guardians. That's pretty profound, right? So this is something you can bring back and just put it in the ear of the people on your Texians, on your General Assembly, and just kick that around. This goes the same for everybody else. So Marion, no on Indiana. I know you're not in a position yet to be a liaison, but you can account for all of your counties and just put it out there. You don't have to even solicit or appeal or beg or anything like that. No, there's no levels of desperation needed, just a little general awareness of the fact that how can the state assembly even embrace county or nation states, what that even is, without somebody stepping forward and saying, I want to know what it's like to be a peacekeeper. They may fully want to be the peacekeeper on that county, which is the sheriff. That's the only one. Interestingly, right? Kimberly on Michigan, they're pretty advanced as far as I know with their outreach efforts. But again, the amount of counties on Michigan, Kimberly could probably say there hasn't been a peacekeeper yet step forward in however many counties they have status corrected people. David on Missouri, and again, Michigan has a liaison. Missouri has a liaison, but again, no vertical, no latitude as far as peacekeepers on a county. This is what's missing. The counties that we have, Nevada liaison has a liaison, Florida liaison and a county with the sheriff. So, and she's not present here, but we do have a county. So that's probably the only one that we have any kind of visual experience on what that can be. So we can maybe rally around Marion County, Luis, as we move forward with one of the 4 initial model counties. And then see what it's like, anything contrasting at the state level. In my view, any coordinator with a state co-coordinator working to build the assembly militia pillar with at least one state or one county having a sheriff there, that goes the distance in my world. Alabama is kind of fresh. They're dealing with some issues, but their militia commander is interested and even interested in county assembly development. So, but they're on the map, let's say. In Louisiana, they're completely green to green as far as the notion of county assemblies needing to be standing, or nation states, I should say, what they actually are, or what makes up the nation states. Their State of the Union is fully on board. They have a seasoned liaison. They're not fully dedicated to their state, but they're working with the Peacekeeping Task Force, and they are liaison. They do have a liaison form, authorization form, and a CAB in hand. But they don't, I'm not sure if they have a county breathe. So you can kind of see the theme here. I'm going to throw one last one in, and Luis, I don't know which other county. I think I named most of them. You may have 1 or 2. The other one I want to throw in there is my county. I want to be able to join the Resurgence project. I want to be able to dip my feet in the water and not be, it's not chilly. It's actually quite comfortable. So I want to do that, and I'll add that to you guys. But everybody here, all the liaisons, that's where we're going for, and which we will have more than 4 soon, but we would like to have at least initial 4, and very soon after we work out the kinks. And again, I'm kind of talking more on your end, Luis, but I want to meet you somewhere with that effort. And I do want to throw my hat in the ring for that. All right. Any questions? Let me go to, where'd you go? Where'd you go, Richard? Richard, how many, Richard's next to get his common access badge. After this meeting and into next week, I'm going to draft the final closeout of the presentation as a training. No one has expected to be there. I'm going to try to make it to where I can present myself and then post it as the final training. If we need to, if you guys would like to, for whatever reason, we can combine that recording, what it would be a recording by myself. But if you would like to meet next week just for an hour, we can go over the closeout of the training. But it will be, I think it's 90 slide presentations. And then once that's completed and sent out, there will be no more recurring trainings for an entire year. So that's pretty exciting because we'll be doing other things, letting our hair down more, talking more shop talk instead of presentations that the entire world can see. Those meetings like this will be recorded, like those for all of through 2026 will be recorded, but there'll be rations to those who only have the recording. So it will be the liaisons. We'd like to get Marion Marion, if you can, for Indiana, if you can at least let your assemblies know where we're at, you can jump in.
Oops,
Here's Calvin from South Carolina. Oh, wow. Hey, Calvin.
sorry. Oh, hold on one second.
Calvin's old school. Go ahead. Sorry, Marion.
Oh, is that okay? I've been letting them know. And I just keep updating, after we do our training, then I bring them up to date on where we're at, but I've been trying to get somebody that would be interested in becoming a liaison, letting them know that how
Sure.
they'll work hand in hand with the assembly, but as well as you, and how a liaison works throughout the whole state.
Right. Perfect. Yep. Oh, and the liaison teams. Where we're at right now, we don't want to, I mean, scalability is everything. And if an organization or any of their projects want to succeed, they have to be scalable. They can't be front loader or they'll fizzle out under the weight of the effort. So yes, and you are liaison. So you can go back to the assembly and, you know, encourage them, motivate them. Don't oversaturate the opportunity.
I keep forgetting that I've been through the training.
Yeah, and have fun. But the evaluation, education coordination, these are the things that needs to be known. We try our best to provide that. Repeating the notion that it's a cyclical opportunity for us to be able to grow with the assemblies and allow the assemblies to grow around our efforts. If it was just the four of us, myself, Kathy, Luis, and Boyd, we just simply couldn't do it. It's just a logistical nightmare. It's not possible to be able to go across multiple time zones and carry this information. It's not possible. So through all of your efforts and where you are, and the familiarity you are with people in your assembly, this is how it happens. Okay.
Thank you.
Completely. Let me add in South Carolina. How you doing, Calvin? I think that's right. You're from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Are you from South Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina, representing Assembly in South Carolina, and
That's right.
I've been meaning to get with y'all for a long time now, but finally I got hope to get to y'all tonight.
No. Well, good to have
And
you.
glad
Yep.
glad to meet.
Glad to be here. I started my military career in South Carolina. Just so you know.
Oh
That's good.
wow.
I
Wow.
lived in Dorchester, off of Dorchester Road. Anyway, so there's that. Good to have you, Calvin.
Yeah.
So I'll add that. Okay. So I'll leave ample space for you, Kathy. Let me just screen share. If everybody, or if any of you here are kind of noticing the difference in the transition, we're not going to be death by PowerPoint. We're not expecting the entire world to see all of our work. It'll be a little more fast paced, and we'll be discussing things that you are familiar with, or will soon be familiar with. Calvin coming in, at this time, we will always default to, whether it's on these meetings or in email, default to our previous training. There's a couple of you here who do utilize your the liaison feedback email, and you share with us your salient details of the training and your perspective, which is great. And we're gonna rely on that, Calvin, and we'll help you to, if you are interested more, go back and refer to those trainings. Just review them at your leisure. Take the time, share us your notes, what you took away, anything good, bad, things that we can work on in the future for future trainings. Anything that you saw as a takeaway, share that with us. And then eventually, when you're ready, we'll have an interview with you. And this is the same with anybody else. That makes sense as far as the interview process goes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
He's had
All right.
one interview, Joe. I interviewed him. I don't remember. Louise, were you there?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think
But
been a while.
I don't think you've interviewed him
No.
yet. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, and my wife with me right now also.
Hello.
And I could
Hi.
count it that way.
So great to see you guys.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I do recall seeing that. Calvin, I didn't attend. I think I recall you yourself and your wife attended. So.
Yep.
Well, so let me give you an example for Calvin or anybody here. What we're asking for as far as I'll slow down here so I can make this make sense for everybody. Service management meetings, our first appreciation for your participation here is to provide us where your assemblies are. Where are they as far as safe, as far as militia goes? How many discussions have you guys had? Any kind of awkwardness around the word or the purpose? Any current or previous, I guess, cinematic fantasy ideas, or ideologies around the term militia? Any militia activities, any things like that, any concerns, or aside from that nonsense or distraction, what has your assembly worked on as far as what they can offer, what they would like to offer their communities, and what can their how these are the kind of things. Do you have peacekeepers? So we could, well, Calvin would know. He would be, he would learn to know that what are the expectations. Well, he's coming to a service management meeting. Hey guys, we got so many counties, such and such counties. Last time we met, there was no interest or concern about having a peacekeeper on all of or let's say 60 counties. But since our last meeting until now, we have a few folks who are interested. He could say, we have 100 folks on our status corrected men and women all across South Carolina. But since I met with them last week or last time until now, 3 of those 60 counties, now we have people who are interested. That's, to me, that is solid progress. And that's something that we're asking our liaisons to take our concerns and our objectives so that we can glean, you can glean from our training through our meetings, we can glean from you what your assemblies are walking away or taking away from meetings with you, or the times you share with them, concerns about state border defense. And there's nothing else to that. The evaluation part is just that. We need to, through your efforts and through your meetings with your assemblies in your time zone, you're helping to bring the Federation's efforts forward. Without you, we just couldn't do it. And we're not trying to do it. The closest we got to trying to reach out to all the counties was to let them know, you're, and it's referred to as a greetings and salutation opportunity. And there's a PowerPoint provided for that and a 45-minute presentation of that material. But we already, and this was last year, already ran into, it was by coincidence, and they are in the minority, but we ran into issues where assemblies were struggling within themselves and really had no time to even consider talking with the Peacekeeping Task Force. In other words, there was enough of their busyness that they were dealing with. It could simply, just to make it simple, to simplify our experience, they were just too inundated with other work that didn't come, and they were issue ridden. It wasn't that there was progress. It was more issues that they couldn't make space for even talking with Peacekeeping Task Force. Okay. But there are more assemblies that are much more involved and much more, they're not inundated with other work. Most of the assemblies that I know are eager to get involved. It's just a matter of time that gets around to them to discuss what we're offering. So the first approach towards to your assemblies is the evaluation part. Okay, so I think I mentioned that enough. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah, Mary Ann has her hand up. Did you want to take her question?
Go ahead, Mary Ann. Go ahead, Mary Ann.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to find this paper, Joe. I had a question, this backs up to with the counties, and I'm talking about our Sheriff Reeves. I had found an article, Anna's, the importance of county sheriffs. And she had noted 242 sheriffs on there that know they're under the rightful constitution, under us on the rightful United States of America, our rightful law. And I'm just wondering, did you know where that's standing in as far as, because it's a list that covers all of us, all of our nations. And I mean, this was done early on, so I don't know where this is at. You know, where these people are, because I know there's a couple right here in Indiana.
It's probably, yeah, it's probably through the CSPOA, the Sheriffs and Peace Officers
I
Association.
know it's right. Yes, yes.
A constitutional sheriffs and yeah, it's probably through.
And
If
this
there was an,
she just noticed it. Like I said, that's the title of it, the importance of county sheriffs, and she had them all listed. So I was just trying to find out how that would correlate in it and where were we at? In other words, did you have any idea? Because I haven't been able to come up with any other lists since then. And like I said, this had been done early on. So if you were aware of any
I know
lists?
we spoke with Sheriff Mack just a few days ago on a meeting with him, myself and Boyd. And I think if there was 24, did you say 24 sheriffs?
242.
Okay, yeah, 242. Well, Sheriff Mack has said there's more since then, since that article that you are seeing. There's an average of 800, between 500 and 800 more. And what I'm saying is, what I'm understanding is what Sheriff Mack's effort from then till now is that he's reached their comprehension of what their role is under their oath to uphold the federal Constitution. And so I'll try to find out more about that for you, try to determine. But yes, there are more than 240 sheriffs, if that's what he was referring to, that are that the importance of discerning what is constitutional and what is not. We go above and beyond that, so we're in a position to ask more of the sheriffs. Maybe it's more legwork for them to discern who is who, you know, in times. Really, it's during routine traffic stops and during process serving. This is where the sheriffs can really make a difference.
That's what I was understanding when Louise was talking, that you had more jurisdiction, you know, on what your end for the peacekeepers does. So that's why. So is it do I need to contact Sheriff Mack to get kind of a listing, or you're going to able to do that for me?
No, yeah, we'll be able. Yeah, this is exactly where the directorate and our deputies can take that opportunity off of your hands for you, and to scale that above or higher than if it's found that is needed. The Peacekeeping Task Force can speak with the U.S. Marshal Service, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, this being their supervisors, of course. Provo Marshal, and it's pronounced Provo, not Provost, by the way, just so you guys know. They'll notice these things. You just maybe seems not, not necessary, but it is. Anyway, the Provo Marshal and JAG, how they're associated, how they bat the ball back and forth between themselves. These are the areas that we can speak with the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the state level investigators too, which is the same. There's a Bureau of Investigation out on every state, the same, and they work with the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Any other portion of that's not just completely on your states, but is more on the federal side, we can reach out to them. So again,
okay, thank you.
U.S. Marshal Service, U.S. Postal Inspection Service. If you're
Thank
talking
you.
about local areas, this is where it becomes more complex as far as educating or offering education to them or coordinating meetings. I don't think anybody here is at that level, and it's okay. We don't have to be yet, but that is the part of the other, the rotation of where we're learning more about your assemblies, where they are. Evaluation is the most important, and it's the first. So when we can find out and determine where your assemblies are, we certainly don't want to put or expect too much more of an assembly who doesn't hardly have even a marshal at arms. You know what I mean? Or one that's in transition, or one that doesn't even know the role fully yet of what a marshal at arms is and what do they do. All of these things is where we're trying to find out. And the only way we can find that out is through you.
Marianne, Joe, let me ask, Marianne, could you put that document in the chat that you're referring to?
The one where with the sheriffs?
Yes.
Sure. Oh,
Thank
I
you.
don't, let me see if I've got it saved, because I print everything.
Mhm.
I'll look it up, and if I do, I'll put it in there, Brandy. If not, I'll email it to you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Joe.
I
Need to
thought
turn
that
my
was good
camera
for
off.
everybody,
It's
for all of the
logging now.
nations, if that's good for somebody, our commanders in our assemblies throughout, every nation, they have an idea of, give us an account, so we know, it just helps us, that's all. Thank you, I'll yield.
Thanks, Marion. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here real quick. Kathy probably has a little more.
I don't
Boyd's
have a
not
whole lot,
here,
Joe.
so
You're good.
okay. Yeah, so okay, so what we need, when this is completed, the one-page portion of this, to send the entire portion back to us, and you can send your credential or your passport quality photo to us separately. Oh, what happened? Okay, so right here, you can still see my screen. You can send that separately, but this needs to be completed the way it was described. But hey, if you haven't seen the replay or the tutorial that I provided, I think last month, or if you still need a refresher, this is where we'll pick up. This is what the first part of our exclusive liaisons and liaisons training meetings, which this is a kind of a hybrid. Just let us know and we'll talk about it as much as we need to, but send it back, the fillable portion. Okay. Then we'll take the screenshot that we need, but we definitely need access to the entire one. Let me try to give you an example. If there is one here. Okay. Most of the spaces will fill the entire portion. So of course, you'll see this here may not though. Others, if you click other and you have multiple, let me just try to show you this here. All right, the last 4 was a few, or the last 10 were different than Y. See how the last part, see how it's filled to the part, then the last part of this content doesn't show up. If it was needed, this was information that you needed. Notice that all of it's not there. See? Because when I click it, all of what is there is RT, 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 RETWE. See what I mean? That's why we need the entire portion. We need the entire fillable form. So there's that. Okay, this is for you guys. Now, and the other part that you need, don't worry about the signatories or the approval. These are coded numbers as number sequences tied to each CAB. Yours will have one too. Okay, but it's subdued under an issuance number, which is on the back part of the CAB. What we are needing will be your assembly militia logo. Louisiana will be added to this. If this was Boyd's, let's just say if this was Boyd, since he has one, it would only be his state, any other services that his state is working with, and any of his neighboring states that Louisiana is aware of, and by process of elimination, they're also aware of liaison. And this is a sheet to help the de facto law enforcement and emergency services become as aware as they can be about what your state assembly offers to themselves as American state assemblies adjacent to them in their immediate area. The differences between those neighboring states that falls in then different postal areas. For instance, there's 4 postal areas, states for Kentucky, but there's 8 other states that surround Kentucky. So there's a difference in relationships in your immediate vicinity plus the states that are part of the postal area. So there could be other services too. Florida's working on an emergency medical team that's mobile for all of the states. So it might be that service logo is on here too. So that's that purpose. So just really quickly. Yeah, and we'll talk more about this. You'll know it like the back of your hand. It's only 5 pages anyway in totality. And really the only thing that you mostly need, that we need, will be page 2, this one, the fillable form. And lastly, you'll need the back of your credential card. We're not concerned with the details that are more of a doxing nature, but we would like to have the opportunity for anyone who accesses this liaison authorization form, we'd like for them to have the opportunity to scan and access your status correction paperwork. Okay, so there's that. Let's see. Who's on here right now? I'll go ahead and stop screen sharing. Is everybody who's on here, do you have access to the Peacekeepers network? Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, as far as the cab is concerned, you're able to hear me correctly, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. I'm on my phone and the computer. And so as far as payment, would there be a way to send a personal check or Zelle? I would think I'm not the only one that doesn't have any of those cash apps that you actually have in order to pay for it. Thanks.
Let me speak to that.
We'll
So
let
the cab,
Kathy,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to refer to you, Kathy. Go ahead.
So the cab will be available to purchase on the radio website, which I'll talk about in just a second. And when that is, you can use your Visa. You can use other forms of payment. If you don't have Visa, MasterCard, that kind of thing, I mean, there's Apple Pay on there. Trying to think what else. If you don't have any of those, then we can figure another way out. I mean, I don't think it's a problem to send a personal check off to Joe. You know, I think that would be okay.
Yeah,
For the
I don't
small
like- I
amount
don't
that
like
we're going to be
handling-
receiving.
I don't even like handling money. You know that. Don't do that to me.
So, but we can figure out a way if one of those forms aren't good for you. Now, it's not quite ready to be up on the website yet. I'm hoping in a couple days. There's been a lot of issues. We rebuilt the entire website. So, but once that gets up, does that work for you? A Visa or MasterCard or Apple Pay? Or I guess you probably don't do Apple Pay.
Absolutely. And so please just inform all of us when we can do that through the APC, because I would love to go ahead and pay and process my cab. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Sorry it's taken so long. That'll be probably in a couple days. So.
Right. Okay. Good question, Jennifer. Yeah, we're working with Richard at the moment on that, and Richard has ordered his quite many weeks ago, so
maybe
we
months.
definitely want to get on the opportunity for that. Rest assured. Also, Richard and everybody here, when you do order those, if you happen to lose it or if somehow it gets confiscated or whatever, or damaged, we have the ability to get you a quick replacement, and within just days. So don't worry about that. We know that because we keep an additional for you, safeguard, and kept for you, and we can expedite that too. Also, in closing, I know I touched on evaluation, education, coordination, what that means, and how it pertains to yourself. We're hopeful that your efforts should be suitable for yourself. Just helping right now provide us the details about the health of your assembly. What are they privy to? What are they interested in? How they position themselves? How many questions do they bounce off of you? How many inquiries about your assembly do you extend to them? These kinds of I guess back and forth. This is very vital for PKTF, for the Federation, because we simply cannot move forward comfortably recognizing your assembly and reaching out to your peacekeepers counterparts if we don't know where your assemblies are in that development effort. And the development are the functions of your state assembly and the relationship between your state assembly and your county assembly. So not to worry. And certainly, as far as being in a really, really comfortable, posh position, there is no better position than a liaison, because we're a suit and tie people. We don't have any dog in the fight. We're subject matter experts. We're exceedingly peaceful. We're exceedingly approachable. And this is our forte. This is what we do. So you're in a great position if you don't want a whole lot of work to do, but if you would like a team that can help build out the evaluation, education, and coordination aspects, certainly ask for 2 others who would like to be in a position similar to yours. They'll see how you walk and talk, and they'll know the limits of the information that you have, but you're definitely in a position to be a subject matter expert in all of those. And if they would like to help with the providing education, and this would be in the form of PowerPoint presentations, again, the suit and tie, your attire, credentialing, all of that. Someone else can handle that for you or with you. And to round it out, someone who helps coordinate meetings, additional meetings. This is the coordination aspect with your peacekeepers and their counterparts. Your peacekeepers and their counterparts. Okay, so that's all I have. And
Richard, did you want to ask a question?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to touch on real quick. Joe, you said that on the back of the cab, it would have access like a scannable link to our recorded documents. That way for basically verification, whoever wants to scan it, check it on site, whatever.
No.
Same.
The password controlled access to the front portion of your authorization form. Alongside that, there will be also a photocopy of the reverse side of your credential card, because your credential card has e-verify access. Anybody who you provide the card to them where they can scan, or you can provide them the sequence and they access e-verify and type that in, or they just simply type your name in and e-verify, and that information will pull up. The reason why we're asking for the reverse side of your credential card is because the only way, unless you provide them your physical credential card, the only way they'll be able to scan your information is go to e-verify, or you can give them your name. They know by that time they're going to know what you look like, and they're going to know your name, and they go to e-verify, type your name in, and they can receive that information as well. What we're trying to avoid is any kind of opportunity for some reason, someone tries to confiscate your credential card, right? Right now, anybody else in any other position at all in our assemblies, the only thing that they have to render as who they are as a form of identification will be their credential card. Our liaisons has a common access badge in addition to their credential card, which is not needed. That makes sense? Yeah. Yeah. But if you provide the reverse side of that credential card, which provides not only that version of a UPC or a QRC, it also provides the number, right? The exact number of your e-verify, and then of course you have your name. So, but any of that will work. These are the opportunities. Anybody who scans on the front part of your CAB will take them directly to the PKTF news site in an undisclosed area or distribution that has your authorization form, the front portion of it scanned, and the reverse side of your credential card also scanned in. So
Awesome. Thank you. I yield.
Yep. Okay, that's all I have.
All right. So here's the manual. If you click that, the manual will download and add your radio to the cart. And there's some other information. Here's more of a description, so you'll just have to click around. But the important thing is you can order the radio. There will be another link in here for the cab, like I was saying, the flags. The cab will come first, then the flags, then the business cards, and everything will be here. But just remember that if you order the cab, you need to send your headshot and the picture of the back of your credential card and the liaison authorization form. If you send that to both Joe and myself, then we'll make sure that we get that processed. And apologies for this taking so long. I know some of you have been waiting a long time, but we're, growing pains. So let's see what else. And you have to have completed your interviews and have your background check, that as well. Jennifer, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. So when we order it through APC, who gets notified that we placed the order for the cab? Thanks.
I do. Is that it? Okay, that was it. Yeah, I get notified. Marianne, go ahead. You're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
Okay, this is the only one. This is the D10 that everybody's using on the Peace Bridge, right? Peacekeeping Bridge?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I was listening, but something didn't go through in my brain here. And another, I believe one of the other ladies on the other nation asked, it was about how we're paying for these when we don't go through the actual site. Like, can I get it just a money order and send it?
Well, on this site, there will be opportunity to use a Visa if you don't use Cash
Oh,
App or
okay.
Apple Pay, or I don't think I have PayPal on there. There's a couple other forms of payment, but you definitely can use a credit card.
Okay, okay, but
Yeah.
this is the only one because for some reason I heard through the grapevine that they were like over $1,000. This one's like
No.
under 5. Is that right?
It's 277. Are you kidding me? I don't even have the price listed here.
Oh, it's there. It's there. It's like I see it like a 300 and then
That's
a 270
270.
something.
270. Okay.
Yeah, it's
But we
there.
don't need any other equipment to go with these.
No, right out of the
No,
box.
it comes with a charging cradle or a cord to plug in. The newer ones have the cord, and then it comes with an extra battery and a headset. So no, it's everything's there.
Okay, and that was the one, and just to, this is kind of, that goes hand in hand with it. On a prior meeting, I had talked with Joe. I like to have a 2-fold, I like a backup. So, and Joe, when I talked about before having a CB, but you were talking about I might need other equipment, not having enough range. So would it be best for me to just go ahead and purchase 2 of these?
I have 2.
Okay,
That
have
helps
2.
answer your question because
Okay.
they're so affordable otherwise. An
Yes.
American version of this same magnitude is upwards of 500 to 700, what I've seen, which is unfortunate because we would like to purchase from America. But yes, the people, KO Tom, they're really great. Their equipment is very durable and very well priced.
and we need a bunch of certifications for this.
No certifications.
Okay, I missed something. That's why there was a lot being said and I getting understanding cross.
So we do have some trainings that are available. There was one last week, and it's
I did watch
on
that.
okay, good. So as they record, kind of mini series of trainings, we'll post those also on the YouTube channel, and they'll be shorter and more concise to specific topics. So that's where you would go to get some more information.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you. I yield.
You're welcome. David?
Yeah, back on the cab for just a moment. So I've known for a while, and I'm glad Joe mentioned that again, that you want the back of your credential card scanned for the cab. But if all you have is the old LRS card and you've never been given access to the LRO, and you don't have coordinators that will give you access to the LRO to get a card, and we don't have access to any of the other credential card solutions that are being formed across some of the other states, that kind of would inhibit me from getting a cab then, basically, right? Because my old LRS card doesn't have anything. Those barcodes and the QR code on the back are deactivated now. You can't pull up any of my status correction paperwork or anything on it.
No, right. No, if you, among you who do not have access to or to be able to share off anyone else to peer in, we can forego that at the moment. Really what's needed is our process of validating who you are. So by virtue of having a common access badge, we've done our part to validate who you say you are. But we would like for your counterparts or your colleagues or anyone else that you're working with to be able to see your own status correction paperwork. So
Okay.
if you don't have it yet, that's fine. Just that area in the password protected portion that holds your authorization form will be pending. No problem.
All right. Thank you.
Marianne, did you have
Excuse me.
another question? I don't know if your hand was still up from before.
This is Rich Ernst. I have another question real quick for David, if I may, because you made a statement that I don't understand. You said you don't have access to the LRO. I'm not sure exactly how can they restrict your access to that? That's your login to that.
I want to laugh
your own-
because if I started giving you an answer to that,
to view your own paperwork, you have access to it. That's all your own documentation. They can't deny you access to that. They shouldn't have that kind of control over the LRO. It's my understanding. They should. They don't.
let's just say I 100% agree with what you're saying, but yeah, I'll just shut up from there because if I start talking about it, it's not going to be pretty.
Well,
Uh,
look, and if I can, we'll have the opportunity to share some of the challenges that your assemblies are having, and they'll be in an area that's cordial and reasonable, and accurate, so that we all can share with some of the challenges that your assemblies are having. And it's not any one particular assembly over another. These are just growing pains. I think that's fair enough to say, right?
I agree with what Richard said. I wish I could give you a straight answer, but there's no cut and dry answer on it. So that's why I'm saying I'll just zip it. Thank you.
But those issues are being taken care of. We know that, right?
Also in the chat, I put a code for peacekeepers to use for a discount when you order the radios. So grab that discount. We're keeping it to, the peacekeepers out there, not your personal ones or the neighbor, or, something like that. So I just thought I'd type it into the chat instead of saying it out loud. And okay, so lastly, we're looking for people that want to be a dispatcher on their state, and they're starting some trainings. And there's you can get a full description of what that entails. It's probably being about 4 days of work. It's a week, 4 days a week working with this group. But if you are interested in hearing more about that and seeing if that's a good fit for you, I'm not sure if Joe. I don't know if I talked to you about this. I'm not sure if being a PKTF liaison and a dispatch will work, but if you know someone, you want to pass their name along to Andy. That's whose name I'll put it or email I'll put in the chat. But it's a time consuming position. So it's more of, it's not a conflict of interest. It's more a conflict of whether you'll have enough time. So I don't know if we've, talked about a determination on that or not. But you could, we are looking for them. So even if you talk to someone on your assembly and they're interested in this role, you want to pass their name along to Andy.
Yeah. With that, a little bit, Kathy, I did send Arkansas, I think's on here, and I did see an email, but I forwarded that over to you. I don't want to put Arkansas on the spot, but we'll talk about that. Their offer, their willingness or interest in becoming a dispatch operator.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, there's only a few states that they have people for right now. So let me put his email. Okay, there you go.
And one last thing. Oh no, go ahead. Boyd would have touched on this. The deputy director's role. Anything that we haven't had the opportunity to talk about now, any parts that we did talk about that we didn't ferret out further, we can talk about on the Peace Bridge Network. And so who's here? Marion, I would like to, Kathy, can somebody, or can you guys share my email? I want to extend this to everybody here who's not on the Peace Bridge Network. So for instance,
what
Marion,
email are you referring to?
My .us email. So America State National.
Oh, sure, email address. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. So Marvin's on PBN, Richard, yourself, Lori for Arkansas, she might be interested. We can collaborate back and forth through email to try to determine if they have a marshal at arms, a militia commander. What we're hoping for is to kind of meet where your peacekeepers are at the state level with a liaison. So if you're interested in that via email, we can bounce back and forth. But Lori, kind of let us know where your assembly is for sure. If you have an interim marshal at arms on their way to becoming a sergeant at arms, obviously, if you have a militia commander who's interested in learning more about how to be plugged in to what other commanders states are doing, let us know. You can probably verify who they are. That's what we're going for, is verification as who people who would like to be on that network are, who they say they are, which they should all be peacekeepers. Same thing with Calvin. Calvin, you can let us know if you have a marshal at arms militia commander, those kinds of things. If you have a sheriff in any one of your counties, we definitely want to offer that. So
Yes, I definitely need a Martian because I'm here in this state, and my wife and our main concern is about the what I would call the KKK. And so that's our main concern about where we are and our safety. You know, and that's we've been holding back on a lot
Because of safety.
because of the KKK
Safety.
and our safety. We kind of like secluded now up in an area so that we don't have to worry about that shit because already been placed in jail 3 times for a lie that they don't have no evidence. They don't have nothing that I went against their law. They
hey,
just pick me
Calvin,
up and put.
you know how we can probably help. I mean, I'm eager to help any assembly that's in distress or other people where we can, where we're able. But I'd like to have a meeting like Luis and I had with Alabama, somewhere along some of these lines of areas of distress. But is it possible that you can help schedule a GA meeting
I
with the
will.
South Carolina Assembly?
My wife and I are open to anybody who want to help us because we are really afraid. And so
Well, right.
anytime we get somebody that can come in and give us an open eye to what we need to do and how we need to go about doing, because I had a investigation when my wife and I got thrown off our land, and the sheriff, the FBI gave me the paperwork for the Attorney General of South Carolina told them not to investigate our case. And so he said, you need to keep this. He gave me the email that it came from the Attorney General. He said, then he turned around and told me, you need to keep this for your record.
Well, like I say, Calvin, if Luis and I can meet the time that your South Carolina Assembly, if you can provide a meeting opportunity for us to meet with your entire state assembly.
Yeah.
Because I know South Carolina may be having some setbacks, but we'd like to offer that opportunity to share your time with our available time and to help.
Well, anytime
rekindle
y'all are ready, my wife and I are always open. Anytime y'all set the time, we're here. We ain't going nowhere.
Okay. All right. So we'll reach out to you so that we can speak to your entire, not just yourselves, but your entire assembly. That would be awesome.
Okay.
Great. We can make that happen. Okay, David.
Great.
We don't want to stay on too. We're a little bit past, but I don't know when you guys started. I was running back. I was running a little bit.
We started on time, but go ahead, David, if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, so a couple of us on Missouri own radios and attended that training meeting with Andy and Robert and did express interest potentially in the dispatcher role. I mean, obviously, if there is going to be a conflict of interest, I'm kind of in a jam, but I still work a full-time job and I'm trying to get out of that and hopefully get out of the de facto corporate world where I'm working now and do feel like I could do the job. But I think Andy said that in about a week from that training meeting, they were planning on making an official announcement and sending some documentation to the assemblies, basically saying that here's the position, you know, here's what portion of it you would vet. We'll do all the rest of the vetting. They're looking for like a letter of recommendation, basically, from your assembly for the position. But there's potentially already 2 of us here on Missouri that would do it. But if it's going to be a conflict of interest, I asked them that same question, Kathy. I don't know if it is or isn't. So I guess it's kind of up in the air. But
I think it's just how much time it will take for that position, and then PKTF liaison. Like I said, I don't think it's, unless Joe, if you do, but I don't think it's a conflict of interest as far as the two positions. It's how much time. And we do want, 1 to 2 people per state at least. So maybe with
Right.
the other, whoever's helping out may make it easier where you could do both. So that was it. Joe, unless you have any other thoughts on that. No. Okay. Lori, did you want to ask a question? I think you're unmuted. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I see the email address here, PKTF Executive Director. Is that who I need to contact about the either the liaison or the dispatcher positions? I
No,
know
the
Joe
dispatcher
mentioned
position.
me from Arkansas, so I just wondered what I need to do next.
Well, for the dispatch, if you're interested in the dispatcher, Andy is in there. That's the email I put in there for that. Joe, what did you want Lori's to email you for?
Right, like, well, just like Calvin, anybody who's here who's not a liaison or liaison in training, reach out to myself through that email, and we can build, back and forth information that you can share with your assembly, and go from there. Essentially, after that, if anybody like yourself, Lori, even if you were interested yourself, hypothetically, tomorrow, you can go to the PKTF news site and complete the enrollment form, which is the very next step after interest. So if anybody would fill that out. Now, if you're not interested, of course, just let your assembly know, and you can let us know. Well, there's actually 2 things I was asking. For those who are from a state who does not yet have a liaison, kind of help garner that interest to the best of your ability without overburdening yourself, but also to let us know if you have a marshal at arms, if you have a militia commander, because we would like to invite them to the Peace Bridge Network.
Right.
Joe, Lori did she has filled out an enrollment form.
Okay. Oh, fantastic.
So
All right.
she hasn't requested an interview yet, but the enrollment form part of it is
Wonderful.
complete.
Easy breezy. Yep. And so Lori,
Yep.
through the effort that you or any of you here, it's a great back and forth. And as that oscillates back and forth, you move forward. You can help us gauge your assembly, the health and welfare, the latitude it has, and they recognize you, you recognize who they say they are. And in this case, with the Peace Bridge Network, it's a no nonsense, ultra lean, very flat, very visible, and extremely informative areas across all manner of peacekeeping. So it's a very wide spectrum of peacekeeping. And eventually, anybody who's on that network will be on the edge of their seat, learning more information from all of the peacekeepers, all of the things they know, all of the folks they talk with locally at their state level, and you can just glean from everything that's there. We just crossed over into our 5th week, and it's just going to get better and better. Very lean. If you've been on, anybody who's experienced Mattermost, that was more of kind of a whirlwind a lot of times. Plus, I don't recall Mattermost being flat, which means there are no sub channels of linked other channels, or it's just one channel, each one on the Peace Bridge Network. Very easy to navigate. So, and there won't be any crazy, disrespect or anything that's not in the realm of peacekeeping. Everything that is in the realm of peacekeeping, that's what you'll find on the Peace Bridge Network.
Yeah, so I'm sharing my screen now. I'm showing what it looks like. Jennifer, you want to go ahead and ask a question?
Thank you, and especially to you, Kathy. So since this is the last PKTF training session and it's recorded, I'd reached out to you before. So sometimes in the chat, there's excellent links and documents. And didn't you say you were working on having a depository where those could be accessed for everybody? Because as I listened to the old training videos, I wish I had access to those things.
Yeah, well, the videos you do, you're talking about the documents, correct?
Yes, and so like even today, as we're going through the training in the chat, there are excellent links and documents that get uploaded. So is there a way for people to access that when they're listening to the old training?
Not at the
Yep,
moment, but
yeah.
we're working on it. We will have that
Well,
done.
and-
We haven't
Well,
had
the
time
ones
to
that
do
we
it.
can, again, the takeaways, that's great. Jennifer really, she's great. She's great at what she provides for. So verbally, you're not mentioning that, and your feedbacks as well. She's mentioning that material was shared during times past during trainings. There's the Dropbox that we have. If you share with us what you have heard was shared at that time during that training. If it's not in our PKTF Dropbox, which is at the footer of our news site, well, I'll do my part. Others will do our parts to track down that material and put that in, inject that into the Dropbox.
There you go, Jennifer.
Retrieve. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good suggestion. We need to do that anyway.
Mhm.
So. Okay. I think that's, anybody have anything else? If not, I think we're gonna go ahead and stop, and we'll be back in touch via email. If you have anything else that you need to let us know, definitely just shoot us an email or talk to us on the Peachbridge Network, which is you know, a really great way to communicate. So with us.
Yep.
All right, everybody have a great rest of your evening and the weekend, and we will see you soon somewhere sometime.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good night.
See you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.